Hey y'all, welcome to Kamira's Kitchen. I hope all of y'all are doing well and ready to eat up a delicious meal. I'm going to show you guys how to do a whole roasted chicken as well as some garlic Parmesan rice. Yes, do you hear me? We're going to make some cabbage and some sweet potato butter pecan cornbread. This whole meal is absolutely amazing down to the last bite. So we're going to get started first with the sweet potato butter pecan cornbread. I have cut up 2 medium sweet potatoes and I'm going to just cook them in my Instant Pot. Now, if you don't have an Instant Pot, you don't have to use this. You can boil them. You can roast them whole. You can probably even use leftover candy yams if you take off some of the syrup. The point is to find the best method of cooking a sweet potato that is going to work for you. So once mine are nice and soft, I am going to drain them and I'm going to just let them cool. And while they are cooling, I'm going to put together some cornbread from scratch. Y'all know I will bust out a mix in a minute. But for this recipe, I'm going to go in with my flour, my cornmeal, a little bit of baking powder, salt, cinnamon. Okay, I also like to put in just a touch of nutmeg. All of these warm spices just complement the sweet potato. Before I mix in the wet ingredients, I'm going to put in my chopped pecans. This is going to help evenly distribute them and keep them from sinking to the bottom of my cornbread. Then I'm going to mix a wet bowl. This wet bowl is going to have my sweet potatoes. I have a cup and a half that I've mashed, as well as a stick of butter. Y'all know that make everything better. A combination of buttermilk and sour cream, sugar. Okay, y'all saw this with sweet potato cornbread. Okay, so it's going to be some sugar up in there. Okay, but this recipe, in my opinion, is not overly sweet to the point where it's like a cake or a dessert. But that's just me. Some people, if you add even a fourth a cup of sugar, they don't like it. Okay, but I'm going to take my whisk and I'm going to mix everything together until it is well combined. And then I am going to put my wet ingredients into my dry. Now, I started out with this whisk, but them little pecans was just making everything way too difficult. So I switched over to using a spatula just to make sure that I didn't have any pockets of flour. Typically, I would be heating up Sister Mabel. If you don't know who Sister Mabel is, that is my cast iron skillet. Okay, she's been rocking with me for a long time. I would heat her up in the oven while I'm mixing together the cornbread mixture. But I didn't get around to doing that today. All right, so I am just going to go in and just line her and grease her with a little bit of butter flavored shortening. But if you want, you can stick your cast iron skillet in the oven at 375 while you are mixing your ingredients together. Now, your mixture should be thick. Okay, this is not pourable at all. Okay, that sweet potato is going to add a lot of moisture to the cornbread and it just adds a nice thickness to the batter. So go ahead and spread this out evenly. I am going to cook this in a 375 degree oven for about 30 to 35 minutes until a toothpick comes out clean. If you think that the top is getting too brown, but the inside hasn't cooked enough, then just throw a piece of foil on the top and continue to cook your cornbread until it is done. When you have those nice cracks and that golden color, most of the time you're going to find that it is completely done. I love to put a glaze on the top, especially since we're doing this butter pecan vibe. So I'm going to make a really easy one with some butter, some brown sugar, a little bit of vanilla, as well as some maple syrup. And to just kick things up a notch, I want to put in some bourbon. That bourbon has a caramel-like flavor that just really complements everything butter pecan. To step things up a notch, I am going to throw in some very finely chopped pecans into the glaze mixture. Y'all, when I told y'all this was sweet potato butter pecan, I meant it. We got candied pecans and then we got pecans all up in the batter. Baby, this is next level. Do you hear me? Baby, this is these wifey recipes, okay? You can only make this for somebody special in your life. All right, because when you start cooking like this, baby, they're going to just keep coming back for more and more and more. Okay, you ain't going to be able to get rid of them. All right. So I like to poke some holes around my cornbread with a toothpick so that the glaze can seep down up in there. We want to get all the way to the bottom. And then just spread out the pecans with a little bit of brush so that everybody can get a little bit. This is best if you allow this to cool for about 10 to 15 minutes. I just find that the flavor comes out better. I know that greedy spirit gonna want to make you get it right out the oven, but just wait and you will be rewarded. Baby, are you going to make this? Let me know in the comments if you love this recipe. I really love cooking whole chickens because to me they're just so easy to prep and to put together. And I really love these young chickens. You know, don't bring me no giganto 7-pound chicken. I don't want that. I like the nice, young, tender meat because I just feel like it has a little buttery flavor. It doesn't dry out as easily, and it just takes the seasonings so well. I am going to rinse off my chicken and then dry it. If you don't clean your meat, I ain't got nothing to say about it, okay? This is your kitchen, so you should do whatever you want to do. However, if you clean your meat, then of course you're going to need to clean your sink. All right. Now to prep the chicken, I am going to spatchcock it. This simply means that we're going to cut out the backbone. Do not throw away that backbone. I save them because I make chicken broth out of them, and bone broth is so delicious. All I do is cut out this back. I cut out that little fat that is on the side with my kitchen scissors. And then when I go to make broth, I actually use that plus, you know, any wing tips or any other leftover pieces of chicken and vegetables I have and some chicken feet. Yes, some chicken feet because it's full of collagen to make a broth that I use for all types of meals. To make the chicken lay flat, I'm going to use a sharp chef knife and I'm going to cut through that bone that is between the chicken breast, and then you can just press it down and your chicken is going to be perfectly spatchcocked and it's going to cook more evenly. I like to cut off this little excess fat that is at the bottom, and surely I really don't take off a lot of fat from the chicken. I actually am just going to take that fat and stuff it into the breast so that it can just melt over the breast and help it to stay moist. Then you want to take a paper towel over the skin because I like that crispy skin. All right, and if there's moisture in the skin, it does not crisp up as much. So I'm going to towel dry the chicken, and look at this beauty. This beauty is ready to be seasoned right on up. Yes, she is. I'm going to take my knife and just jab it in the breast. I know that just sounds so wrong. All right, but we got to make slits in it because I want some fresh garlic to get down inside so that we can season and flavor this down to the bone. I'm going to use some olive oil all over the chicken so that the seasonings will stick and it will help the chicken to crisp up. And then I am going to just take my garlic and I'm just going to go crazy with stuffing it all in there. This is about 5 cloves of garlic that I have sliced, and I'm just going to press them into each one of these slits. This is one of my favorite ways to season up a chicken. Let me know in the comments, what is your favorite way to season up a chicken? Also, if you have loved this recipe so far, go ahead and give your girl a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe if you want weekly meal ideas. Your family is never going to be bored with dinner by following the recipes on this channel. I love me some Maggi seasoning. This is a little similar to soy sauce, but it has a bit more of an enhanced flavor. This really, I find, seeps down into meat and just gives it a really great flavor, but this isn't going to, you know, take it into the teriyaki direction. It just gives it a great boost. I have a mixture of garlic powder, onion powder, smoked paprika, some oregano, a little bit of pepper, all sorts of like really good seasonings that I've mixed together to flavor my chicken. And yes, okay, I'm pulling up that dress and I'm putting that seasoning right on that skin. Okay, because that is where, you know, you want to eat that. You want to get that flavor on that too, as well as the back of the wing. Okay, people be forgetting you got to get the back and the underside of the armpits. Okay. And then whatever is left, I'm just going to sprinkle on the back and rub that in. But remember, you don't have to use this seasoning combo. You can use whatever combination of spices that you and your family likes. I am going to cook this chicken in a cast iron skillet. And yes, y'all, I do have more than one cast iron skillet, which is why you will see me using cast iron skillets multiple times in one meal sometimes. And then I am going to put my chicken in a 375 degree oven until the internal temperature registers at 165 degrees in the breast meat. For this size chicken, that took about 1 hour. Okay, but really it depends on how big your chicken is. This chicken is about 3.75 pounds, and of course it's a tad bit less since I took out the backbone. If you don't have a meat thermometer, which I know some of y'all don't, okay, then you just want to cook your chicken until it looks like this, and then if you think it's done, you can take a knife and just kind of poke it into part of the breastbone and see if the juices are running clear and if it is pink. Allow your chicken to rest for at least 10 to 15 minutes before cutting into it. I squeezed some lemon juice on mine just to enhance the flavor. And guys, this chicken was so juicy. I tore up them legs and them wings. Baby, this was so good. Let me know if you're going to try this roast chicken recipe. Have you ever made garlic Parmesan rice? It is such a very easy side dish that doesn't take hardly any time. It doesn't overpower a meal, but it has a great, subtle, delicious flavor that I think your family is going to love. Here I'm washing 1 cup of jasmine rice. And then I am going to take about 3 tablespoons of butter and melt it into my pan. Right into that, I am adding 4 cloves of fresh chopped garlic. Saute this for about 30 seconds before adding in your washed rice. I'm going to mix this together and allow this to toast on medium heat for about 3 minutes. What makes this so special is that I am adding a cup of half and half into the rice, which is going to make it so creamy. And then I'm going to put the rest with water. I'm seasoning this really simply with some garlic butter seasoning, vegeta, and then salt and pepper to my own taste. You want to cook this on the lowest heat setting for 20 minutes. It's so important because you don't want that milk to kind of burn in the rice. And then I'm going to mix in a cup of Parmesan cheese and some chopped up parsley. The Parmesan adds a lot of saltiness, so just be mindful of how much salt you put in at the beginning of the recipe. This is a great rice to pair with any meal. It is so good, but it has a lot of subtle buttery flavors. Let me know if you're going to make this. I'm going to saute 2 strips of bacon for my fried cabbage, and when they have rendered their fat, I'm going to add in some peppers and some onions. I'm going to let that saute just for about 1 minute before going in with 1 head of small cabbage that I have chopped up roughly. They're in about 1/2 inch pieces, but you know, I ain't measure, okay? Now I'm going to go in with one of my favorite seasonings, vegeta. I'm going to link that in the description, and then I'm going to pile on my cabbage. Now it's going to look like, okay, it ain't going to have enough room, but y'all know cabbage will shrink. So put that top on, let it cook on low for a few minutes, and it will wilt right on down, baby. I'm going to then turn it, and then I'm just going to let it keep cooking until it gets to the tenderness I like. I'm going to add in about 2 tablespoons of water because this cabbage I had wasn't super juicy. It didn't release a lot of juice. After about 10 to 12 minutes, I felt that mine was okay, but you really need to cook this to the level that you like. I like a little bit of crunch on mine, but of course, if you like it super soft, you can go for about 20 to 25 minutes. I'm going to adjust the taste with a little bit of sugar, okay, a little bit of pepper, you know, a little bit of garlic powder just to my own taste. Now, the sugar won't make it sweet. It's just going to bring out the natural sweetness that is in the cabbage. Let me know how you enjoyed this meal idea, and if you are going to be making these recipes for your family. You guys know that I love you and Jesus loves you, and I thank you so much for supporting this channel. God bless all of you all, and goodbye.